40 universities, and you see from 22 European countries, and you see there the broad. So it's clear that it's essential to integrate green initiatives within the Erasmus framework, ensuring that the program not only fosters academic and cultural exchange, but also champions the cause of our planet, which I'm sure you are very aware about. Today we want to discuss not only the state of the art, but also to envision practical strategies and innovations that can make the Erasmus program a leader in environmental sustainability. We have several examples of this. And today we have the policy side of this thematic, so with Slava from the European Commission, and then we have an institutional side from Michaela from the University of Pavia. Then we have Gita, the president of ESN, with the students' view, and then we have Simona from EURL. I would like first to say that on behalf of Carlo Boselli, the CEO of EURL, that could not make it unfortunately, but EURL has an important announcement to make today, and I think you will all be happy with this. So this Coimbra Group Academic Exchange and Mobility is one of the 12 working groups of the Coimbra Group, and the chair and the vice chair of this working group are present in the room today. And this is where we discuss several things on mobility and exchange, and notably the green aspect of the Erasmus project. And you will hear more about it later. And first I wanted to tell you about a pilot project that we ran 2 years ago with the URL, very successful, and this is when we started to be partners with URL. We did a pilot with 28 of our universities that would offer a discount price for an interrail ticket for their Erasmus students, and it was quite successful in the end. And this is the criticals and the reviews that we got from the participating students. They would like to make it wider and to open it to all the exchange people. There's also, in our universities, there's plenty of sustainable actions and involving Erasmus and mobility students. So we have since composting food waste, a ban on plastic in campus, etc. But Michaela will tell you more about it. So for now, I wanted to say that this is not only about reducing the environmental
And this was adopted in 2022, and not just focusing on higher education, but the other sectors, so from about a young age. At the higher education level as well, we have our European strategy for universities. And this strategy was also published in 2022, and it has more of a whole institutional approach to both the green and digital transitions. So we can see it's important at the Commission level, it's important for education and for universities as well. And then we come to the Erasmus program. So you might know or might not know that the Erasmus program has 4 horizontal or overarching priorities. These 4 priorities are inclusion and diversity, the digital transformation, participation in democratic life, civic engagement, and also environment and fight against climate change. But what does this mean for the program? It means that participating organizations are being encouraged to promote environmental sustainability throughout their activities in the Erasmus program. So this includes using specific funding opportunities provided by the program for this priority, raising awareness amongst participants, sharing good practice, sharing best practices, and choosing the appropriate design for their activities. Green is also, or the green priority is also included in the award criteria. So for example, if you are applying for a key action tool like a cooperation partnership, you can select this as a priority and focus your project on this, and we use it when we assess the projects. This is also something that is assessed at the level of accreditation. So the entry ticket to the Erasmus program for higher education institutions is the Erasmus Charter for Higher Education, is ETCE. So in this ETCE, when institutions apply, they are committing to certain principles, and one of these principles is a commitment to this priority. Another thing that we have that's related to Erasmus and this green priority is this green salto. Now these saltos are resource centers that we have focusing on some of these priorities that I mentioned earlier. We have a salto on the green transition and sustainable development. We also have others in inclusion, digitalization, etc. And this resource center is aiming to improve the quality and impact of the program at the systemic level. And they provide expertise, resources, and training activities. Now the main focus may be the national agencies. You know that Erasmus Plus has national agencies in each of the participating countries, and these national agencies are responsible for the implementation of the program in the different countries. But the national agencies also take on these responsibilities of the saltos. And this resource center is hosted in the French National Agency, so I put their website there, but it's only recently started, so give them some time, and I'm sure they will have a lot of interesting things, not only the national agencies, but also for the universities and participants. One other thing that I wanted to mention for the higher education sector, well, it's not exactly Erasmus+, but these are the MSEA, it's the Marriage School Curie Actions, so it's the program that we have for doctoral education and postdoctoral training, and they have their own green charter. This charter was introduced in 2021, and the goal is to raise awareness, also to provide guidance on sustainable implementation of research activities. It's guidance for individuals, it's guidance for institutions, so it's higher education, and we have higher education in the Erasmus program, so even though this is for the doctoral part of that, it's still applicable to the higher education institutions as a whole. So I think it's also something that's interesting to take a look at. Another thing is that we are working on a green strategy. We have an inclusion strategy that's been published a few years ago, focusing on the inclusion priority. And currently we are working on strategies for green and digital. And this will have a similar approach to our inclusion strategy. We want to, like I say there, we want to further engage, inspire, and motivate stakeholders in the fight against climate change to become an active participant of this green transition. And this strategy will go over the different roles, so what the national agency can do, what the higher education institutions themselves can do. It will offer some good practices. So look out for this green strategy. I think it will be an interesting read when it's published. I'm thinking it's coming out this summer. So keep your eyes peeled. To focus more now on higher education. I know we will probably discuss it in the panel, but of course, you know, we have a mobility project. We have mobility projects, and it means that participants are mobile. And at the moment, we still see that most participants take non-sustainable means of travel to their destination. But we still see some progress. Just a little bit of statistics there for you. This is the share of students and staff mobility that use the green travel method, and we saw it go up from 11 to 14% in the past 2 years. And I wanted also to go a little bit over the changes that we have made to the program now for this fall 2024. for the mobility projects that are starting in the summer. So before this call, we had travel support for participants of a certain kind. We had travel support for staff members, we had travel support for participants with fewer opportunities going on short-term mobility, travel support for international students, but now we have generalized this travel support. So it's for all staff, all students, no exceptions, like we had in the international mobility before. So what's also a part of this travel support is higher travel support for green travel. Now in the past we also had this famous €50 travel support for green mobilities, and as you can see now it's quite a lot more than €50. We did some studies and saw that it was not enough, so we have raised the rates, and of course also accompanied it with the travel support for everyone, even though you're not traveling by sustainable means. But like I say here, green travel is going to be now, it's promoted as the standard method of travel. So we have green travel and then it's non-standard, not standard and then the green travel. And as a principle, we would like to see that if participants are traveling less than 500 kilometers, that they will travel by sustainable means. So this table, if you're interested, it's in the program guide there. The amount is based on the distance band, so it's the amount or the distance that you have to travel. And we've also simplified some of the rules regarding the travel days that you can get. So you can get up to 6 travel days if you're taking a train. It takes you a longer time to take a train, we know, so we offer students this opportunity to get more travel days. I think that's it for my part. So, thanks.
Thank you so much. I made a bit of a mistake, so ignore this. Okay, we are. I wanted this is what happens when we do the presentations 5 minutes before. And so now we have the institutional point of view. We have Michela Cobelli, who is the head of the International Mobility Unit at the University of Pavia. This is one of our Coimbra Group 40 members. And she has extensive experience on the internationalization side of universities. And so, Michela, I would ask you to give us some insights on what is being done at the universities for a sustainable Erasmus.
Thank you, Katarina. Thank you all. Hello, everyone. Before starting my presentation, I'd like to ask you who have reached Seville by train or by sustainable means? Okay, this is very interesting. What do you think, Esvala and Rita? Let's see. My presentation is focused on institutional perspective of the universities. As Svava just mentioned, green mobility and sustainable mobility is something that is put as a priority on the Erasmus program. As university, we should to try to implement in practice what the European Commission want from us. First of all, do you know about ECE? Who is know about ECE, Erasmus Charter for Higher Education? 1, 2, 3. Okay. You should. This is another. Okay. This is another very useful information. Erasmus Charter for Higher Education is an application that universities should to send to the European Commission in order to get access to Erasmus. And we do that every 7 years. In the last application form, green mobility and green practices was for the first time put in an ECE application, and universities should to try to find a way to positively respond this question. How are you going to promote environmentally friendly practice in the Erasmus program? And we promise something, all of the universities participating in the Erasmus promise something to the European Commission and then to you. But the greenwashing is in the door, because you know that not all of us, and I'm speaking about, for example, the international offices, are now very well trained about how to implement green practices within universities. And then we tried, to find a way to get some answers and initiate some projects in our university. As Vava mentioned, in the 2024 there is a very good news from the European Commission, because from the mobility starting on the next academic year, all the students will be able to have additional money in order to travel green. But what is the real situation? And I really thank you for this, the Coimbra Group, because Coimbra Group did in March 24 a survey among the universities, and the situation within the countries is still not so clear. Come back to this. This is something that all Europe should implement, but national agencies can decide how to implement it. Remember that this is a transition, okay? So maybe not all the countries put this in the agenda. Very difficult, it's not readable, I know. But this is the survey that Coimbra Group did, and you see that there is an answer from Austria, Finland, Italy, Ireland, and so on. All the universities that participated in Coimbra Group answered. And the question was, how did your national agency implement this? And for the 24, the situation is not so, I cannot say, coherent, let's say, because each national agencies could decide how to do it. So, the answer from UniPV, what we did and what we are doing. I'm not speaking about our institutional approach, trying to implement as much as possible green initiative in our university. Get a scholarship, of course. And we tried to implement as much as possible all the novelties that the Erasmus Plus provide us. We, of course, activated from 2022 the 15 euros for supporting green traveling. But we will see later that we started also additional initiative funded by the university. At an institutional point of view, we are not only thinking about provide support to individuals, but we are trying to do some institutional projects, like tree planting compensation, a little bit near to greenwashing, but we can talk later. We do cooperation projects among universities for training, for example, international officers in order to implement green initiative. We do student contest in order to keep ideas from the students and maybe implementing those ideas in our university. And then we are thinking to revise all of our Erasmus agreements by taking into consideration and by putting on the table with our partners the green and the sustainable topic. Very difficult. Okay, this is the timeline of our institutional green mobility policy. You will see that we have some steps to do it. It's not readable, okay. And we have, just to show you that we have a short and middle and a long strategy on that. Okay, this is just an example of a cooperation project we are coordinating. And this is mentioned, as I was mentioning before, for example, international officers need to be trained on that. Erasmus is only a piece of the puzzle. You have to consider that there is a lot of universities in Europe and billion of university students, and Erasmus students are only a little piece of the part. So universities should to embed sustainable policies, maybe taking from, how can I say, the initiative that the European Commission pushed to us to activate, but Erasmus is something that is still like a cluster within the universities. Only 7% university students right now could have an international experience. How we embed green policies within the university? By working by working of course with partnership. This is the first thing that we do, okay? Taking agreement with universities, and then by implementing projects for outgoing mobilities and incoming mobilities. Some examples. In our university, this is not, very innovative, because right now I expect that all the universities put some initiative on that. For example, for freshmen, we offer reusable bottle of water, and there is a free dispenser to take water within the university. We are working to have energy efficient buildings within the university, and to provide students with public transportation for free. This is a very good project, because 2 years ago we inaugurated an area within the university, and the name of the area is the Green Erasmus area, in which we renew an old area of the university with tree planting dedicated to all the Erasmus students that was in mobility on that period, and so on. What about other initiatives for incoming students? Of course, we provide information about recycling, about how to bike, for example, within the university, how to commuting from the home to the campuses. In our case, it's very important that the students lock the bike, right? Okay. Because there is a very secondary market, let's say. Then we activated some other initiative in order to provide coins to students, and actually to all the university community that demonstrate to commuting green. For outgoing students, we are providing courses on SDGs, for example, for free, and the students could get extra credits if they attend it. And as I mentioned in my speech before, we also started this project, Sustainable Drivers for Uniquely International Mobility. In some words, we provide the students with more support when they want to travel green. but we are not alone, of course, and we need the cooperation of other administrative office, the governance of the university, and then you as a student. And ESN is one of our best partners to do it. I just put some picture of our ESN local association. One was a picture yesterday in Seville, and our student association is very, very active. I have to say, for example, talking about the Green Initiative, they are very, very active because they do like many initiatives. For example, they cooperate with Plastic Free, which is an association that want to, how can you say, what they do? They collect waste within the city, and then they do conferences and panels. They do like local journey within local shops within the city. They do, for example, swap parties. And then, as I mentioned, they have a partnership with other environmental associations like Friday for Futures, Plastic Free Pavia, and so on. Say that, I hope to receive many questions from you, and also share best practices that maybe your university your governance is implementing, because it's very important to us to receive feedback from you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So I would like now to introduce Rita Dias. She's the president of ESN, as you know. And I would also like to say that this is a cooperation that the Coimbra Group cherishes very much. We have a memorandum of understanding with ESN, and we have regular meetings between our 40 universities and their 40 local sections, almost all Coimbra Group. I think there's 2 universities that don't have a section yet, but we try to promote events and other activities and to work together institutionally and with the students to make everything work better, because without you, we would be nothing, right? So now I'm passing the word to Rita, who will give us the students' point of view on these green initiatives.
Yes, thank you so much, Catalina, and I really want to reinforce this that Catalina said about the cooperation with the Coimbra Group. What I said in my speech about cooperating to achieve common goals is a complete reality that we do every day with the Coimbra Group. And even though my speech yesterday was a bit fast because of the lack of time, today I think we can do things a bit calmer. We also want to hear your questions and to understand how we can better also to cooperate with all the entities here for a better future for ESN. And this is how I want to start my intervention, because I think it's important that you recognize here how do we all work together to achieve a common goal. Because the program, and one part of the program exists because of the students, because mobility, and most probably you here went abroad, and this is why you joined ESN, because you started to go with this amazing experience. And this is why we also are in ESN, because we want to support students, and we want to have a better future for students. And even though you don't fully understand the scope of my work, I do work every day to support international students, and you are going to see after what we are doing with RRL in order to make this a reality. And even though probably some of the things that Svava presented can be a bit difficult for you to understand, but the European Commission basically puts a policy framework. So they put the policy framework for the program to be more green, not only the program, but the European Union to be more green. And then what universities do is to try to implement these changes in the campus. And they are doing a fantastic collaboration with their section to make this possible. And what we do in ESN International is to try with initiatives, also with other partners, to make this a reality for students. But we do this in a very particular way. But we do this especially through connecting the voice of the students. And we do this with something that I particularly love, that is with research, okay? And so some of you probably is very boring. Research, why I want to collect data, this is so boring. But I find this extremely fascinating. Because actually with this you can get the voice of the students through words and through numbers. Okay? And ESN actually, between 2020 and 2023, we conducted something called the Green Erasmus Project. Who heard here about the Green Erasmus Project? Okay, one. Okay. Some people, more than the ones that travel by train, huh? So this is good news. So this was one of the biggest projects that ESN conducted and actually had a very high score by the European Commission, so it was very valuable. And actually the person that conducted this project is here, is Paola from the HQ. And also if you want to the HQ booth in the expo, you can ask her everything about this project. Of course, I know about it, but Paola is the absolute expert about it. And one of the outputs of this project was to conduct a research about student habits. So actually, our students thinking about their habits, are they using sustainable means of transportation, are they, for example, using swap clothing, are they, for example, use furniture when they go to abroad or when they go abroad. So we asked all of these questions in our survey to the students. That was one of the outputs of the research when I was mentioning. And one of the most interesting things we understand with this research is there is a gap between what the students think and what the students do. So probably all of you in this room, people in this room, are worried about environmental problems, correct? Yes. But what Michaela asked is that probably 10 people travel by sustainable transportation. Why? Why did you travel by plane to come here? I want to hear some answers.
Money. Cheaper and faster.
My country is far away.
Thank you. You can come hear the presentation from me. Exactly. So this is exactly what we assess both in this research, but also in the ESN survey. And I will go to the ESN survey in a bit. So what we understand in the Green Erasmus research is that there is a big gap between what the students want to achieve and what is actually what the students do. And this is because two main reasons, because time and because of money. So the students want to use sustainable transportation, but they don't have time or they don't have money to actually achieve this. And we also have seen this in our recent ESN survey. So we conducted a very big research in ESN, it's called the ESN survey, and we achieved 23,000 answers this year. The survey is going to be published very soon, I will promise you, it's a bit of a sneak peek. And basically, what we have accessed is that even though students are very interested to do this still is a reality. But I can tell you also as well that I have compared, for the report that is coming soon, I have compared the answers of countries, for example, that have good means of transportation, for example, Germany. So for example, a travel between Germany and Belgium. And I can tell you that still train is the preferred method of transportation used. So for these countries, actually, we see a switch of behavior. And these countries actually are using more train than plane. So this is good news. So I'm not worried about Germany, I'm not worried about Belgium, I'm worried about other countries such as Spain, my own country, Portugal, that are not using the train as the method of transportation, they are using others. And there is reasons behind that. And the reasons were exactly the ones that you described here. It's time and it's money. So the two main reasons for students to not choose these methods. And because of this, and it's already 2022, ESN gathered together with Erasmus by Train. There is also another association, and we actually publish a position paper. So, like I told you before, we work with very big dreams, like I told in my speech, and we do connect a lot our research with our policy objectives. And this was a policy paper that we published in 2022 with Erasmus by Train. And basically to call for an Erasmus ticket for international students. So actually students to go abroad with a dedicated ticket for the Erasmus Plus program. And I can tell you that today this ticket is going to be a reality, but I will let the big news to go to Simone. I think, yes, but Katarina first will introduce. I'm doing your job, I'm sorry.
But this is how things work. I should also present Simona Clerici. She's from Eurail. She's, oops, I did it too much. Business to Institutions Manager of Eurail. And while I'm looking for her presentation, I will tell you that in 2021, we had an interim worker at the Coimbra group, and this is how things start, just in meetings like this. And she told us, I used to work for Eurail, or near the office of Eurail, and maybe you could do something together. And at first I thought, why would the Coimbra group cooperate with a commercial company that is connected to trains? And we started with one meeting, just informally, and from there it grew into a pilot project where then we offered Interrail tickets for our students, and this is how things start. So in meetings like this, you talk to one person, and then a huge project starts. And I like to think that what is going to be presented by Simona is also a fruit, a follow-up to this cooperation. And Simona.
Thank you very much, Katerina, for the introduction and the invitation here today. Can you hear me well?
Yes.
Actually, the speech today was supposed to be done by our CEO, Carlo Boselli, as Katerina mentioned. He was very much looking forward to be here today, but unfortunately, due to an injury, he was not able to travel. So I'll try my best to veiculate to all of you a very important message today. First things first, I'm Simona. I work at Eurail as a business institution manager, and I'm responsible for projects with institutions. But what is Eurail? Eurail is Eurail, as you can see here, means connecting Europe by rail since 1972. How do we do that? Via an iconic product, which is the Interrail Pass. So I'm also going to ask everyone a question. Who knows what an Interrail Pass is, or maybe has used one? That looks good. Looks good, good. You are already familiar with what an Interrail Pass is, and in a very pragmatic way, we can say it's one pass to travel across 33 European countries. It's a digital pass nowadays, but actually it's maybe even more than that, right? We all know that at Eurail we say that we create connections that leave lasting impressions, and that's what traveling by train means, right? When we travel by train, we get to know new cultures, we get to know people ultimately, right? We connect with each other. And this is a dimension that is very dear to us, and it's very important, and I think will be very meaningful also for what I'm soon going to announce. Interrail has actually become, over the years, a social right. I think it's quite unique if you think about that. You know, we also use interrailing as a verb for something which clearly is something that's bigger than going from A to B by train. It's really about the experience and all that comes with it. And in 1992, I believe, the Parliament also gave a formal recommendation to the Commission, to the Council, and to the Member States to protect Interrail as something that actually boosts European identity, because by traveling borderless across Europe, you become a better European citizen, you become a better European, you make your identity, you will feel your identity by traveling itself. Now, what does Interrail Eurail has to do with Erasmus? I think it's one of the aims of the Erasmus program is really to help participants also gain life skills, right? So, of course, studying happens in the classroom, but we all know that there is a lot of what is known as informal learning that happens out of the classroom. And obviously, I strongly believe that travel is one of those dimensions. So as a company, we were wondering, we were asking ourselves, how can we actually play a role in that informal learning? How can we contribute in one way to make the experience of Erasmus interesting from the moment you decide to actually travel and work there? So let's start from the end. You see that in the title. We have created an Interrail Pass for Erasmus Plus participants. But we did not start yesterday, and I want to be sure, I don't want to repeat what the other colleagues mentioned, that here you can really see that there were a few milestones back in the day that bring us where we are today with this big product. It started back in 2021 with Coimbra, with this pilot, where we really saw that despite it was very small pilot, as Catalina said, it all started in a meeting between us. We didn't have powerful means of communication, but actually 1 in 10 people that we managed to reach ultimately decided to buy an Interrail pass for the purpose of traveling in Erasmus, and that was really a striking result. So it was already a very good indicator, although on a small scale, that probably that's something that could have been done there. And then in 2022, ESN and Erasmus by Train continue to advocate for a ticket pass for Erasmus Plus participants. And in 2023, the European Commission introduced or extended to everyone the green travel support. So all these elements together bring us where we are today. So we built, we had data. The European Commission again creates this framework which is positive for what also as a private company we can try to create and put together. And I want to show you a short video, hopefully that works, about the Interrail pass for Erasmus Plus.
Ready for an adventure? Erasmus Plus participants are setting off across Europe, diving into new cultures, making new friends, and experiencing some of the most exciting months of their life during their study abroad experience. But the fun begins before you even set foot in your host country. Introducing the Interrail Global Pass for Erasmus Plus, which will help you travel sustainably and affordably by train to and from your host country. With extra travel days included in the pass, you can go one stop further and explore Europe's highlights and hidden gems along the way, or plan an unforgettable trip during your program. Through the Erasmus Plus program, you may be able to be reimbursed for the price of the pass. Check with your home university before making your purchase. Make the most of your abroad experience and uncover the best of Europe with the Interrail Global Pass for Erasmus Plus.
So that's the big news that we wanted to share with all of you today. We are all very proud of it. What is this Interrail Pass for Erasmus Plus? Basically, it's a classic Interrail pass that has as a main difference the fact that it can be used throughout a period of up to 6 months, which means that it's basically fit for all mobilities that last up to 6 months. And the idea is, of course, that you can go to and from your home country to your host university, but also explore on the way, either when you're going to reach this home country, but also this host country, but also once you're there, you can explore further. You can use that pass when you are at your destination and then travel even further from there. Here you can see where you can find this pass. There's a dedicated landing page. No, I cannot. So here there's the bottom of the landing page that you can reach where you can find all the information about this pass and where you can also, of course, buy all the relevant information, because we have created 2 different passes, so 2 different validities, 4 days within 6 months and 6 days within 6 months, first, second class, and the pricing varies accordingly, and all the information. I don't want to bother you now with that. You can find everything there. And if you were wondering why, it's a good idea to go on your Erasmus experience with such a pass. We have a few ideas, a few answers. In the first place, you can experience more of Europe. That's really what we said before. An Interrail pass really changes the way people look at the world, and the effects of traveling by train last longer than the trip itself. Because you can embrace sustainability, that's also what brings us here. Traveling by train is still, when it comes to long-distance travel, one of the most sustainable ways to do so. And again, you can, on the train, continue to make meaningful connections along the way. and you can travel affordably, and that's also thanks, of course, to the introduction of the Green Travel Support. You can also get reimbursed for the cost of the pass, because this travel pass, of course, being train travel qualifies for sustainable way of transportation. So also the policy comes in with a very good tool supporting this. So this is the end of my speech. If I may, I just want to let everyone know that downstairs, URL also is here with the booth. You can all, if you have questions or you want to know more about these, or you just want to try your luck to win some Interrail passes, my colleagues Ben and Slavena are here. Thank you.
Thank you so much to all four of you. I think it was really the perfect insight from students, from the Commission, from universities, and then from URL also. And now, because we have been listening all day and yesterday to sessions, I wanted to open the floor to your questions. Maybe there's a microphone. I'm not investigating, or else we will lose more time. So I would just ask you to raise your hand and then speak a bit louder. Please. Yeah.
Do I need to stand up?
Yes,
Okay.
and present yourself, why not?
Okay. Hi everyone. Hi, I'm Andrea. I'm from Milano, from DSN Politecnico Milano. I have a question for Rita. Okay. Maybe more a question for the treasurer, but he's not here. So, no, I wanted to ask. This initiative is super interesting, and I also did an Interrail back like 6 years ago. I traveled all across Europe with the Interrail pass. I wanted to ask, how is this initiative going to affect the partnership with Ryanair? Because one way, maybe I came here by plane because it's cheaper thanks to ESN. I had a discount on Ryanair. I had the free luggage. So that was like the main. I didn't even think about any ways of transportation.
Asking very good questions. Of course, that doesn't work with Ryanair. But yes, I will try to give you my best answer. But if you want a more economic background answer, I'll advise you to reach out to IBERC on this. I can tell that IBERC was also in contact throughout all of this process. All of this process now is joined more in the end of the process. So we are also thinking on including this somehow in the SN card partnership more when this is more developed. So we have plans for this, but it's still ongoing. Regarding your question on Ryanair, so one thing doesn't exclude the other. So we have a partnership with Ryanair because we do see that students don't have money to go on sustainable travel. And I don't think that they're going to have until the grants are increased enough for them to go. So I don't think this is a problem at the moment regarding train or plane. I think this is a problem at the moment of the economic situation of Europe. So I think until the Erasmus program increases the grants enough for students to go fully on train, we cannot afford to lose Ryanair. And look, Ryanair is an exclusive partnership for flights. So ESN International cannot just do another partnership with another flight company. It doesn't mean ESN International cannot do a partnership with a train or Flixbus, because we also have Flixbus and we are very happy to do it. So one of our causes is environmental sustainability. We are very happy to promote it and more students to do it, but also not for people not to go in mobility. That's only it. We have to live with the best of both worlds, I would say. That's the best answer.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Any other question? I think you were first.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth. I'm from ESN Charles University in Prague. First of all, I would like to say that I really appreciate what you're doing for the environment. My question is, the focus here seems to be on the traveling part of sustainability, as well as clothing and trading, population using. But I would like to ask, there was a study published, and I think the result was that if we cut down all traffic, we cut down the greenhouse gas emissions by about 17%, if you correct me if I'm wrong. Is there any other, are you exploring any other options on how we can be sustainable. Does it make sense? Did I
Yeah.
explain myself?
So other initiatives taking place at universities to be more sustainable.
Like not to travel really.
Yeah.
Something that can play a bigger.
Yeah, in the Coimbra group, in this working, I want to add to this, but there's different initiatives from different universities. We couldn't collect them all to come here. But like there's, for example, I think it's in Turku, if I'm not mistaken, they have a welcome kit where they, every time there's an exchange student, they have, you know, the cutlery, the basics, which then the student gives to the next students. So this is like a behavior that will increase the green, the sustainable practices within their mentality also. And they also have in other university exchange of clothes in good condition and materials in good condition directly, like for more less consumer side of our students. But there are other initiatives. Maybe Nicole, you have other.
I can come back to my presentation. In our university, we are focusing, of course, on green mobility and provide students more opportunity to travel green. But as I said, sorry, this is only a piece of the puzzle, and we are doing a lot of initiative related, for example, efficient energy efficiency buildings, and I don't know, I don't remember what I was mentioning in my presentation.
Compost garbage, I think. Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. This is something we do.
Yes, I want to highlight two things. When I was speaking about the Green Erasmus project, I was only speaking about the research. The Green Erasmus project produced a lot of documents. One of the documents is a kind of, I don't remember the name correctly, but it's like a best practice handbook regarding practice of universities are doing. If you go to the website, we have all the documents produced by the project, and there's tons of universities, tons of initiatives done by universities on this. So I advise you to check and see how you can better collaborate also with universities on this. But I also advise you to check the European University Alliance initiative, because there are alliances of universities that are working specifically on this topic, and they are even more creating their, so there are now 60 alliances. And what I'm seeing now, and as well, please, if I'm telling something wrong, correct me. I think the applications that are being received now are about sustainability. I think they're even more now applying for being sustainable alliances. I think this is the core topic that they are now working more. So I will check the alliances and to see who are the ones working on the topics as well.
Maybe you behind? Yeah.
My name's Andrew from AISBL Netherlands, from Nijmegen, and my question is, so like this is, the reimbursements are for the students that are on their Erasmus period, and I was thinking like, because there are some students who don't have this opportunity. For example, there are local students that may want to go on Erasmus, but in the end, because of maybe like time pressure or something, or their degree, then they don't travel with the Erasmus. But then this, this pass is really nice, but how would it be able to reach the local students? Because there are also, I feel like sometimes there are students who are traveling a lot during their Erasmus period, but when they return to their home universities, they may not travel in the same way as they did before for their exchange. So I was wondering how can we see an improvement or impact regarding this, and how this would also be maybe like relatively cheaper or affordable for local students who have not gone on Erasmus yet.
So I like to think about this product as something that we are starting with, but does not necessarily need to end here. So of course, looking at the data, we decided to focus on Erasmus Plus participants because that's where we knew that there was a big need. But of course, as a company, we will continue to work with ESN, with Coimbra, with other organizations that will be interested in cooperating with us. We will observe first what the results will be of this, because we have just launched it today. So we have a lot to learn as well. But nothing prevents that maybe next year we will be here announcing something which will be even broader than that. So absolutely, and we also need indeed this kind of feedback, because that's very valuable for us, because then we know in which direction we need to look. So, it's a good question.
Thank you.
Yes, and also to highlight that if the national agencies will adapt this to their country, this will be reimbursed. So this is key. And I don't, for what I know now is that only 4 countries are not going at the moment. This is a yearly basis decision, so only 4 countries now have decided not to adapt this.
And our role here is very important. We have some representative from the Commission, which is a cooperation we cherish very much, because we cooperate a lot with the Commission, and we give input to the programs, and we are very happy to see that there was an increase in the budget for green mobility. Of course, we always ask more, but we cherish this cooperation also. I thought I didn't say this in the beginning, and it's also important that we hear everyone in their own country, in their environment, they also make this kind of pressure to their national entities, so that because the Commission by itself is not working without the national politicians, so it's also our important role as local students or citizens. More questions? I see this hand I'm sorry that I'm maybe not following the order, but we still have time.
Yeah, it's about the same topic. My name is Jana, I'm from Germany, and I'm very excited about the Interrail ticket because I came here to Seville by Interrail. And I was wondering how the reimbursement would work, so with the universities, because it said in the video to check with our university before purchasing. So would it be an individual decision of each university whether or not they reimburse, or is there a plan? We as ESN, are we then in the role of promoting to our university that they should sign up for this, or how is this thought?
Maybe I'll start. So this travel grant, the Green Travel Grant, it's a part now of the grants that students should get. There's no opting out of it from the institutional level. So if you are going on mobility, you are traveling, you get the travel support. And if you show that you're traveling by sustainable means, you get the green travel support. What is possible to opt out of at the moment is, in general, just travel support. So there are, like Rita said, there are 4 national agencies that were not ready this year to introduce this travel grant, because it does have some more paperwork for the universities themselves, and some processes need to be changed. So these 4 national agencies needed to give us reasons for why they couldn't participate this time. But we foresee next year that everyone will be participating, so this would be a transitional year. So if you're going on mobility, you should be able to get this travel grant from this call. But I think it's important to keep in mind also that the Erasmus program, or the Erasmus projects for higher education mobility, they are 2-year projects. So there might be students going abroad with funding from the past, and these projects from, let's say, these call 2023, they don't have the same travel support, so they would have the €50 still. And these projects are 2-year projects, but most of the universities try to use up their funding in the first year. So at least by next year, for call 2025, it should be more generalized.
Okay, maybe because there are so many questions, we'll take groups of 3. Can you raise your hands? There were 2 people there. Yeah, both of you, please. And then we start answering after.
Hello, I'm Mateusz from Poland, from ESN. And I'm wondering, because I think Poland is quite specific. We're a pretty big country, and we're a bit on the suburbs of Europe. So, like, we're traveling inside of Poland pretty much by rail. But then, like, Erasmus students who come to Poland, they use this base camp to explore all the Europe. So they use mostly planes to go for the weekends. And from what I've seen, that's why it kind of surprised me that this during mobility plane usage is quite low. And have you thought about countries like Poland, for example?
And the person, let's take 2 questions at a time. You?
But I have 2 questions. So.
Okay, we'll get the 3 of them.
So I'm Florian from ESN in France, in Paris. So I have one question for the universities and one question for the question from Interreg. So for the universities, my question is, so I have seen that you conducted surveys about the mobility of your international students. So I wanted to know if you have measured the CO2 emissions, the greenhouse gas emissions of the travels, but also the housing of your students. So this is my first question. And the second one is that last summer I wanted to go to Italy on holidays with the Italian pass, but I found that it was quite expensive. Maybe I was maybe when I looked at the train, it was the wrong ones, or I don't know. But it was cheaper to go by the Renfe. No, not Renfe. By So I was wondering, is it just exceptional, or did I book the wrong tickets, or yeah, this is the question. So about the price of the hotel.
Yes, I will go for the first question about the results of Poland. So by analyzing, this is the average of the results. So we didn't analyze the specific case of Poland, but actually what we are doing to the countries that want to analyze the specific results is that you should ask your national board. So basically, I think your president was here or was around here. I guess she's there in the back. So I think she asked the results of Poland, and you can ask her to analyze that specific question and to see how successful is Poland being in this specific category. That question, and compare with also the second question, that is the reasons below.
Okay. Regarding the measuring of the CO2 emission, I have to say that we bring the study of Green Erasmus. About that, we didn't conduct a specific study within our university because, as I mentioned before, when you have to do something within the university which is related to few people interested, such as Erasmus students, it's very difficult to put it in the agenda of the governance. So, but I would like to do it in the future.
To come to the pricing of the Interrail pass. So really in a nutshell, how the price of an Interrail pass is conceived is that it basically spreads over the amount of travel days that you have at your disposal. So for example, I don't know, I can imagine maybe you go to 7 days in 1 month and you see a price, and of course let's say the more you travel, the more you save. The idea that buying an Interrail pass, for example, does not make sense if you just want to go from A to B and backwards. For that, of course, you can you should buy like a point-to-point ticket from indeed Italia or another carrier. But the idea of the Interrail is really to travel extensively. So the more you travel, the more you save. So I don't know in your specific case what was the situation, but that's how the pricing of the pass is conceived. So it's really about spreading that pricing over the days that you have at your disposal. It can be maybe that, I don't know, Italia had specific offers at the time, offering, I don't know, maybe Rome-Milan for 20 euros, and then maybe it might have been more convenient, for example, than a day from the past. But in general, that's a bit the logic how the pricing is built on.
Yes.
Okay, Constantina.
I think the biggest problem that we might face, besides all of these that they mentioned, is the lack of information to the universities regarding green traveling. And you mentioned that ETSE right now mentions about green travel, green Erasmus, etc. Have you considered any kind of report from the universities that it can give you, like telling you in some way what kind of activities they are doing to raise awareness for green Erasmus or green travel? Because I think that this is the most important thing in order to engage the students to participate for something like this. Because without having this information, And even though the tickets, the prices are getting more better for them, they will not participate because they have maybe some paperwork in their mind and it might be too difficult. So yeah, this is
A very good question, thank you. I think for this, we really rely on the support of the national agencies because we are not involved in monitoring each individual student, each individual university. But the universities, they write final reports on their projects, so these 2-year projects that I was talking about, and they're reporting to the national agency, and the national agency then reports to us. We have this monitoring for this charter that I was talking about, and in theory, yes, the national agency is supposed to monitor the whole charter. The charter itself has, I don't know, 30, 40 principles that the university should follow, but we know that the national agencies can't really follow everything. We defined some specific pressure points for them to focus on. Green was not a part of these principles, but it doesn't mean that the national agency is not supposed to monitor this. But also a part of this monitoring that the national agencies are supposed to do is support. So they're supposed to support their universities or their higher education institutions when it comes to the implementation of the program. And there, I think it's very important that the national agencies look at ways to find topics that are maybe not so well implemented in the universities, and maybe find good practice that is done in one university and share with the rest of the institutions in the country. So we could probably do better here, but also I think it's important for us to remember, like I said, the projects are 2-year projects. We only started in 2021, so we are just now getting the final reports from the first projects. So we don't have a lot of results yet, and the national agencies are still starting the monitoring. So I think we still have ways that we can improve in the coming years.
Yes. You? And then this person.
Hello everyone, thank you for your presentation. That I am Fatih from Turkey, AISBL. The problem is that, for example, for us that we have a visa issue. That's why we have to come here by plane. Even if you want to use the bus or train, that we need to first go to Bulgaria, but there is another visa issue in there that we have to take. And that, as far as I know about the Green Erasmus in my university, if you come to Turkey, for example, by bus, if you go return by bus, that you can benefit from the Green Erasmus. But what about if we check all of our mobilities during Erasmus? For example, I go to Paris from Lyon by bus. That it's included to Green Erasmus. That if people prove their mobility while they are going somewhere by bus, by fast train, maybe they can get some benefit as like a monetary thing from the commission, that you better rather than to move from the home country to the Erasmus destination. Is there any project like that you can do that is going to be more initiative for the Erasmus generation?
Yeah. So during their stay, not during their stay.
During the mobility there.
Maybe we'll take the other question and then we'll all reply.
Hi, I'm Raksha from ESN Spain, Castellón. I don't know if it exists, but do you have like group discounts for Interrail? Because in my experience, whenever like people travel, usually they don't travel alone. So if there are like group discounts that like pushes people to travel more together, because usually people travel in group, or at least in pairs of 2. And another was maybe like having like a special occasion discount. In the sense, for example, we have ASN events like SWEP, so like temporary discount, because then at those a lot of people are traveling, and it's never point A to B because you have to travel to different cities, and some cities are well connected and some are not. And especially the cities that are not well connected, they're going to go to a lot of cities and countries. So if that could happen, maybe if the discounts were there, maybe more people would be motivated to travel sustainably.
Thanks. I'm not sure who wants to reply. So first the mobilities during the exchange, and then the group prices. I should say that I like traveling alone. So I don't need that. And it's an experience that if you do it on your own, you will meet plenty of people doing the same, and it will be a challenge.
I can try to answer the first one, because I don't think it's a problem of travel sustainability. I think it's a problem of visa issues. I think it's more connected to the visa issues, because as for our call and for our learn, especially throughout this series, that you need to when you go to the embassy, you need to book your ticket to show to the embassy that you have booked the ticket for your travel, wherever you go. So I think this is more related to the process and the bureaucratic process of visas, especially in Turkey now that there is a lot of delays with the problems of the visas. I don't know if you know, but especially we are working a lot with UNIMED regarding this problem of the visas. And actually, in 2 weeks from now, we are going to launch a position paper with UNIMED specifically that is called The Future of Higher Education in the Mediterranean. And we have a whole chapter about visa issues for students. And we actually are going to have a conference in Brussels in the UNIMED week, when we are going to launch the paper. And also, Turkey is doing a fantastic job with the survey for visa issues that we are actually also promoting. So I think that it's the same path here. Doing policy and policy change not happen from one day to another. Like we did the paper in 2022 and we are here in 2024 launching the ticket. So I think if we continue and also working together with AISBL Turkey, maybe one day we are here in AGM in 2025 or 2026 launching visa for Erasmus+. I think this is continue pushing for this together.
UNIMED is the Union for the Mediterranean, so there's a lot of visa issues.
Yes. And on the pricing question, of course discounts are a very hot topic. What we did when we created this class, of course, we needed to negotiate the price with all the European carriers. So we don't come up with our own pricing, but of course we need to have a broad decision with all the participating carriers that participate in the Interrail scheme. So you can imagine that this brought to a lot of conversation, a lot of different interests together. And our position has always been, let's really try to make it as accessible as we can. So we already really came up with a pricing that was like as low as we could to make sure that it was affordable for as many people as possible. So that's why, unfortunately, this does not allow for extra discounts, at least for the time being. Also for groups is a similar concept. We really prioritize to have the price as low as possible, taking into account, of course, all the stakeholders that we need to involve. So I don't think we can expect that in the short term, but we will also see how this will perform and how it goes.
And let me also say that although we consider Eurail a valuable, very valuable partner, they are still a commercial institution. We are all non-profit organizations, but we recognize that they've made an effort to make better prices. Okay, I suppose it's commercial, they're not losing money, but still we need to see that it's not there's a good win situation because it fits into the green travel budget, but they're making an effort, and so we can't ask so much. Yeah. So that's what I mean. Any other questions? Daniela?
Okay. I'm Daniela from Geneva, Switzerland. I have a question to you, Simona, because already since the project with the Coimbra group, the hack was for Erasmus Plus countries. Switzerland is not an Erasmus Plus, but we're in the Coimbra group. There is an ASN section, local and national, and as I heard, you're a company. So is it possible to have also Switzerland and UK in the offer?
So maybe we'll take there were two other hands over there. You and you. Okay, maybe you can already put your questions, and those would be probably the last ones.
Okay. Emilia, yes, in Italy. I have a question for Rita actually, but first of all, I wanted to congratulate all of you or your initiatives because it's amazing, especially when I was listening about the initiatives at the University of Pavia. It's amazing to know that our fellow ESNers in the section quite close to us have such a support at the university from the institutional point of view. So thank you very much. And Rita, when of course you were the advocacy was made for Erasmus students, and it's amazing, the Interrail ticket, wow, really impressive. But was there at any time of conversation, or still is on the table, any partnership actually in this matter? For example, we as ESNers usually, we make a lot of travels, we are not the most sustainable group because of the same reason that Erasmus students are not sustainable, money and time. Average ESNer, I believe, makes like between 10 and 20 travels across Europe per year. Are there any plans for that, or as now we are happy for making such a huge step, amazing step for our Erasmus students?
Let's take another question. Yeah.
Yes, my name is Seville. I come from the University of Cali, very close to here. But well, I am a professor of ecology there, but also I am the general coordinator of one of these alliances of European universities. The one which I am leading is called the European University of the Seas. So we are 9 universities, all of them coastal universities, very far one from the others, because we can say we are peripheral. For example, we have a university in the north of Norway, but also in the south of Spain, in the south of Portugal. We have an island, the University of Malta. So I am really concerned about this problem. The green mobility is something important, but very difficult to achieve in our alliance, given the characteristics of this university. So, for example, we have a commitment in our project in which every 6 months we have a general presential meeting in one of these universities, and it is impossible to achieve the other cities in one flight. We need at least 2. And also we have the commitment, we and all the alliances, the commitment to enhance the mobility until a very ambitious goal of 50%. So it is very, very difficult to conciliate both things, you know, the green mobility and this enhancement of mobile presential meetings and mobilities in the students, staff, and the people working in the alliance. So this is my problem, and I do not find solution really.
And I will add that you are kind of recent. The alliances are recent. At the Coimbra Group, we are turning 40 this year, next year, and we have the same issue. And I think COVID taught us some stuff that we can survive virtually, but still we need some physical meetings, because without meeting people in person, it's not the same. So we are reducing our meetings of working groups also. We have 12 working groups, imagine. 12 working groups, 1 general assembly, all meeting like 2 or 3 times a year, 4 sometimes. And now we're reducing to maybe twice a year to meet the meetings of the working groups twice or once a year. So we're trying, but it's impossible not to travel at all, that is for sure. So let's take replies for the 3 questions, one about Switzerland, the other one about ESN travel, and the travel of also alliances.
I would really like to the question about Switzerland. Actually, I have very dear memories of the University of Geneva because I had my Erasmus there myself, so a few years ago. However, I think in the same answer that I gave before, this is really the beginning. So we conceived the path for Erasmus Plus as a first, and I don't think it should end here. So we would be more than open to see how to enlarge that, to make sure that it's more inclusive, because it's not only about Erasmus Plus, but there's more to it. We also need to be lead-fed from the institutions, because we sometimes are not aware of all the diversity that there is when it comes to mobilities. So that's where I think it's great that we are all working together and we have the same goal in mind, I think. So I'm sure we will find ways to be more inclusive in that as well.
Yes, I'll take the ESN question. Thank you so much for that. It's a very, very good question, and I'm very happy to answer to it. So I took notes, and I took this as a very important feedback, because, and this goes a bit what Simona was saying. This is just the beginning, and I think if we can also do something in the future regarding how ESNers are traveling to events, I think we also should do it. But I think first we should start with the students, and then we can tackle ESNers. But I took notes in my ESN feedback notes from you. Please, if you have any more feedback to give how ESN can improve, please come to me. I'm very happy to hear it, and we can see how we also can improve our own activities.
And also at the Coimbra Group, some universities are So they are, every time a staff member travels for work, some universities impose a rule that if you travel for less than 6 hours, you have to do it by land. And then if it's more than 6 hours or 5 or 7, there's other different limits, then you are allowed to take the plane. That's another measure that we have reinforced.
I'd like to answer to the professor because I didn't mention in my presentation, but we are part of a European alliance, of course, and we have the same problems because also our partners are far from us, and I don't have a receipt to solve all the problems, but I can say that we are working more and more on virtual mobilities in order, I mean, to boost and to increase mobilities and then take, I mean, work not to have such a green impact. And also, oh, sorry, I took some notes. We are working to offer students specific training, for example, on knowledge of SDGs. And something that came in my mind just now, that maybe we can start working to have a CO2 compensation, paying, you know, what I have in my mind. If you cannot travel by flight, do something to compensate what, and this is a general message for all the students too.
Plant a tree.
I just want to respond to that as well. It's definitely an issue with the distances that we are aware of in the Commission. We have discussed it with our national agency, and I think this is something that the Salto Resource Center can also work on. I just wanted to mention that it's still technically possible to do this from an island. I myself, I come from an island, Iceland, very far away. So we've heard a lot of complaints from that side that it's not really possible to do green mobility from Iceland, since the boat travel is considered not very sustainable if the boat isn't an electric boat. So it is still possible. I've given the example of maybe you would fly to the north of England and then take the rest by sustainable means. Let's say you are going from Iceland to Athens. We look at the majority of the trip in kilometers. So if you're doing more of the trip by train, then you would be considered for the green travel.
I must say that we are calculating at every potential meeting the carbon footprint, at least as a way to be confident about the problem and trying to go lower in this number.
And that makes me realize that we didn't answer properly to the colleague from Paris, ESN Paris, or France, yeah, about if we calculate the footprint. I don't think, at least on the Green Group side, we have no numbers about you.
We did that in Erasmus, but we're not report.
Okay. But at the university levels, I have no knowledge of that.
It's very, very difficult because firstly we should check how many travels within the university happens, not easy at all.
Yeah, I can imagine. Sorry?
We do it.
You do it? In Padova, it is done.
Yeah, but mobility is really a minimum part if you take it into consideration the overall activities of a university. It's really good. But we could work on that.
Yeah, something to think about for the future. So I think we will close now. If there are no pressing questions, and if you have no final words, all is done. You can come to us and talk to us at any time.